Good morning and welcome back to the One Celtic Fans View. You get your daily Celtic news. Then this morning, Celtic news. Celtic over the past couple of years, I would say, have been pretty rubbish at scoring goals from headers. As we watch this video here, big Gustav Lagerbielke scores a cracker of a header for Sweden. And you can see him actually looking at the replay of the goal that he scored. And I've got to admit, he actually takes it pretty well. He takes it pretty well. So I know he can't get into the team just now because we've obviously got Cameron Carter-Vickers and Liam Scales, and Liam Scales has just been immense. Liam Scales himself, who scored a goal with his head recently. So it's all looking good as far as Celtic are concerned in defence. And let's just watch this goal again. We're going to show it again. And yeah, I mean, he's getting man-marked and he still manages to get up and get the head on the ball and get it into the back of the net, and that's what it's all about. He just gets a little yard off the defender that's marking him, and he manages to, and he hits it really crisp into the back of the net. So tell me what you think about big Gustav Lagerbielke scoring a goal from a header. He also got them a penalty, I believe. Also, in other Celtic news, there's one person that a lot of Celtic fans despise these days, and it's an ex-Celtic player, and it's an ex-Celtic player that never has a lot of good to say about Celtic. With Aberdeen on the cusp of celebrating 40 years of their third champion success under Alex Ferguson, the last time that the league flag was flown elsewhere. That's unbelievable. It's 40 years since anyone outside Celtic or Glasgow has won the league in Scotland. I mean, what does that say about Scottish football? But that's a video for another channel. When you look at it, Andy Walker says he played back then. He played for Celtic. He says the old days, and he said there was a player that signed for Rangers that Celtic absolutely despised at the time, and we all know why. And it was the only one and only Gaza. He said that Billy McNeil, who he signed for back in 1987, and remember, well, a lot of you won't remember, but a lot of us that do remember Celtic back in those days, we won the double in 1988, we'd won the league a good few times before then, and we had runs in Europe on a regular basis in the early to mid 80s. Celtic had a strong team back then. We had Mick McCarthy, the likes of Billy Stark, Frank McAvenny, Paul McStay, Tommy Burns, and everyone was in the team then, and even an old Roy Aitken was still at the team at that time. He said in the summer of 1988, he said that Billy. Now this is a story that's never came out before now. I've never heard of it. I've never heard this story before, and it's from someone that's now not at Sky, and he has to find a name for himself outside his TV gig that he doesn't have anymore. He said in the summer of 1988. Billy McNeil informed him that he informed the directors that he wanted to sign two players, Peter Beardsley and Paul Gascoigne. Now remember the Peter Beardsley story back in the day. Celtic did try and get Peter Beardsley once, but the Paul Gascoigne thing, I can never remember that. And I'm going to ask a couple of my mates that still went to the football back then, and still do now, and I can't ever remember Paul Gascoigne to Celtic story coming out. I can remember Peter Beardsley one coming out, but nothing ever happened yet. I think he ended up going to Newcastle after Liverpool. And bear in mind that at the time, Rangers started buying up all the English players due to the fact. Now, this is where history has to be reminded, because the old Rangers were buying up the English players because English teams were banned from Europe for hooliganism, of all things. And when you look at what's happening this day and age in football and people moaning about things, the English team that Rangers basically managed to get was due to the fact that English players could not play in Europe. They were all banned. All the English teams were banned for Europe. Anyway, Walker says that the parallels between the Celtic board then and the Celtic board now, the Celtic board under Martin O'Neill and the Celtic board then, they said the biscuit tin mentality. They just wouldn't bring in Gaza. Come on, there was no chance he has ever gone for Gaza. Surely. That's not a chance. Anyway, big Chris Sutton, he's been talking about the fact that Brendan Rodgers will be salvating. He'll be loving the fact that The Sevco look as if they're about to take on Felipe Clement. Felipe Clement, is that a name that puts fear into Celtic's hearts? I don't think so. When you look at the managers that Rodgers has seen off at his time at Celtic, first time round and this time, and you've got to remember the last manager that Rangers had, the Rangers said that Ange Postecoglou was running away from him. He was running away. Chris Sutton says, look, he says Liam Scales is impressed. It says, but celebrating the fact that Cameron Carter-Vickers has came back into the team, it's going to give the team that calm and confidence at the back. Liam Scales has been absolutely immense this season. We all agree that, and it's fantastic that he's got his little run in the Irish team. He says, but when you look at it, when you look at the back line, the fact that the big man is coming back, the big American is coming back, he says that's going to put something at the heart of the defence that's maybe been missing since the start of the season. He says that calm composure that's been missing from Celtic will return, and it'll be interesting to see the partnership that Scales and Cameron Carter-Vickers has together. When you look at it, when we played Feyenoord, getting two players sent off didn't really help us. We done okay against Lazio, you could say, but we still got beat at the end of the day. And now it's back to league duty first before we go to Madrid. What Madrid is going to be, we're having Madrid at Celtic Park, and then going to Madrid 2 games in a row, it's going to be very, very difficult. But Brendan Rodgers looks to build a new team and that can both challenge domestically and on the European front. Do we have the kind of players that can change the tempo and be calm and collective at the back and not give away silly mistakes and be inexperienced? Do we have that in the team just yet? Or is it a team that's going to be a project that might be a bit better in Europe last year? We said this last year about Celtic. We wanted them to be just have that little bit of improvement. And as it stands just now, only a couple of games in, we haven't seen that improvement in Europe. We probably played better football, some people say, under the last manager. But as it stands just now, we only needed a couple of players brought in last summer, and we didn't do that to make us better in Europe. So tell me your thoughts on that. Big Chris Sutton says, look, he is building something that is capable of challenging both domestically and on European fronts. Do you really think that we're going to compete on a European front? Or is it all about the fact that Rodgers is going to be quite happy that Bale has gone and someone else is going to come in, and it's going to be another one to just go off his shoulder, and we'll see how long this one lasts. Big Chris Sutton says he's convinced that the Celtic boss will be licking his lips at the fact that he's getting to take on another Rangers manager, and we'll see how long he lasts. He says Mark Warburton didn't last long, and after Ronnie Dyler was left, Pedro Canixa, he didn't last long when Brendan Rodgers was about, and the list is going on. He's going on. Stevie Gerrard was brought in, and obviously he won the COVID Cup. But then he left also. So tell me your thoughts. Are you really petrified about the new Rangers manager coming in, or is it just going to be another one that we're going to wipe off the floor with, and it'll be gone? That being said, there will be Celtic Live this evening around about 6 p.m. Celtic Park time, so make sure that you check in for that. We'll have a little blether, talk about everything Celtic and Celtic only, and then on that note, have a fantastic day, Celtic fans all around the world.
Lit. Roll up to the party, roll up to the party, roll up to the party, roll up.